Traveling abroad with amateur radio is something that a lot of us want to do. I, in fact, will be doing that 2 days from the time I record this. And in fact, by the time you're watching this video, I'll already be in Italy. In this video, I want to show you the steps that I've taken to make sure that I'm in compliance with Italian law while operating ham radio abroad. The first thing I did was went to Google and simply Googled international ham radio operating. And here we are, ARRL International Operating, and that brings us to this page here, which is basically going to give us a reciprocal operating overview. And it's important to note, you really want to read this whole document, but right here, a word of caution: when operating in a foreign country, you must follow the rules and regulations that country has in place for amateur radio. Frequency allocations may be different. As an example, just because we in the US have phone privileges between 7.2 and 7.3 megahertz, if I'm operating in ITU regions 1 or 3, amateurs do not have any operating allocation on those frequencies. It is your responsibility to know where you're operating. And a simple thing you can do is to Google whatever country or region you're going to's band plan. For example, here's the IARU Region 1 HF band plan, and let's look at 40 meters. Here we have 7,000 to 7,200 hertz. So they don't have 7.2 to 7.3, so I can't operate there. And it gives a list of modes and like SSB contest preferred in these areas here. We can see that 20 meters is the same for us a little bit. It looks like it's a little bit different. It says all modes from 14.101, 14.112. I guess that's just digital. But so basically sideband from 14.125 to 14.350, which is the same as it is here in the States. So, these are things that you want to take note of. Where are you planning on operating? What bands and where do those different countries have operating privileges? Now, in my case, as it says here in the overview of the reciprocal operating, in some cases, such as Canada, a U.S. license can simply append the proper Canadian prefix to their U.S. call sign. In many cases, especially through multilateral agreements such as Sept, the amateur needs only to carry specified documents to get on the air. Those documents would be this Sept Agreement right here. And we can see the European Conference of Postal and Telecommunications Administration. And basically what this says is this is a document that we need to carry with us. I have it electronically. I'll show you in a minute. But basically this is like if somebody stops you in authority and questions you, you can whip out this document along with your FCC license and your identification, which would generally be your passport. But you want to see, so there's a couple things we want to look at. We'll get to this Sept Agreement in a second, but you want to see what countries have reciprocity. And it's important to understand, if we click on this information for U.S. amateurs traveling abroad, which is this document right here, talking about reciprocal operating agreements, you want to keep in mind that reciprocity does not necessarily mean the U.S. amateur can go and operate. So under this agreement, the Sept Radio Amateur License Recommendation TR61-01 allows U.S. Amateur Extra and U.S. Advanced classes to operate in these countries, Italy being one of them. If you're a general, you can only operate in these countries under this agreement. So that's a reason to get your extra right there if you want to travel abroad. Get your extra class license. So you can read through this document and learn about what and where, and are you allowed to operate there with your license class. I'm an extra, so basically I have the whole world open to me, essentially, is what this is saying. Going back to this Sept document, if you click here, this will download it. And it looks exactly like this. So what the agreement says is you have to carry this copy with you that is in 3 different languages. It's in English. Down here we have German, and then we also have it in French. So this is a document that I have stored in a page right here, or a file. I have my Italian travel documents right here. If we open it up, here is this DA16 document. Here is a copy of my amateur radio license. It's an official copy. This is just my travel itinerary here. I also have my U.S. passport for identification. And in my wallet, I keep the bottom of the U.S. amateur license. So I have this laminated as just a hard copy that I can keep with me on my person. But also have it electronically, and that's also stored on my phone as well, so I can access all that documentation should I need to present that information to any authority while I'm operating in Italy. Now, one final piece of information you might want to know is, what is your call sign going to be? And because I'm going to Italy, I searched the Italian call sign map, and I'm going to Ancona, which is right here, and that will put me in I-6 zone. So my call sign will be Italy 6 / Kilo 8 Mike Romeo Delta. Now let's take a look at the gear that I'm going to bring with me to Italy so I can operate ham radio while I'm out there and hopefully get at least one POTA in the log while abroad. And it's all going to start with this Carhartt. This is actually a lunch bag that they make. And the first thing I'm going to put in here for VHF and UHF, I'm going to bring along the Edfong roll-up J-pole, throw that in there. And radio, I'm going to be bringing the ICOM 705. I've got this Sidekicks cover for this with the POV cage, so I'm not worried about scratching the screen or anything like that. We can just go ahead and set that in there. Next, we can put our microphone, kind of tuck it in this little cubby there and wrap the cable around like such, just kind of cram it in there. And we've got our power cable for the 705, as well as an extra fuse. God forbid I be halfway across the world and I blow a fuse. So we're just gonna throw the fuse in this little zipper pouch here. Next, I'm gonna bring along this N6 ARA tiny paddle for CW. I don't really do CW, but I always like to have a key with me, and then there's the cable for that as well. Just very, very tiny. Gonna go ahead and put that in this zippered pouch as well, along with, this is actually an intubating stylet, but it's just a metal kind of twisty tie that I use for holding up the feed point of my antenna, which brings us to the Pactenna N-Fed half wave with the K8MRD mod. We're gonna use this for our antenna. Cram that in there. Also have my USB cable that I'll be bringing my MacBook Pro with me for video editing and stuff like that. So if I want to do digital, we can do that. Coax, this is actually kind of a sundry item as I'm going to visit Messi and Paoloni, so pretty sure I won't be needing to worry about coax, but I'm going to bring a short length of RG316 with me as well, and actually I think I'm going to cram that underneath all that other stuff. That's about a 25-foot run of RG316 with BNC connectors on both sides. As far as battery, I'm going to bring along this Bioenno 3 amp hour battery. Now this needs to stay with me in my carry-on, so I'm not going to put this in here, as well as a 2 amp charger from Bioenno that I could probably cram in here, but this is also going to go in my carry-on luggage. And then lastly, for mast, I'm going to bring my 10 meter DX Commander Expedition mast, and this actually fits perfectly along with my travel tripod in my luggage that I'll be checking under the plane. Now, I was thinking about bringing an HT like my Yaesu FT5 or my Yaesu VX7. I think I'm going to leave these behind. I'll probably end up regretting it, but I've got a lot of stuff to carry with camera gear and clothes and all that. So being that this is a HF, VHF, and UHF radio, I think the 705 is going to suit me fine. So that is the entire ham shack to travel with in a bag, and then I can just zip it all up, and this will go in my bag with my clothes and be checked as well. So there you have it, guys. I hope this helps anyone that's thinking about doing ham radio while traveling abroad. I am so looking forward to it, and I hope to get you guys on the air. I don't know if Ted Watts is going to do it to the States, but I don't care. I'm going to Italy, and I'm going to play radio, and I'm going to have fun. Thanks for watching another episode of Ham Radio Tube 73.